So I don't know about you, but I am ready to get this knife finished up. And in order to do that, we've got to throw a handle on this and get everything all shaped up. So here's where we are at the moment. We've got the guard fitted and roughly shaped. And then we've got this handle material that we're going to use. So this is going to be an outdoor knife. So he wanted something that was kind of camo type looking stuff. Anyway, so I got this this micarta or G-carta from G-carta, and honestly, I hate working with this stuff. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's super durable, but man, it's hard to get scratch marks out of this. In my opinion, it's just harder than other materials to get it to look good. But like I said, it's durable. It's very durable. And then once you do get it looking nice, it's going to stay looking nice. So this is what we're using. So the first thing that I want to do is I made another copy of this. And I'm going to cut out where our handle is going to be. And then I'm going to kind of do the same thing that I did with the blade as far as figuring out what part of this material we're going to use. So I'm going to cut this out roughly, how the handle's going to look. And like I said, when I first started, I'm not entirely sure if I'm keeping this handle shape, but if I do, it's going to be relatively close. I think up at the front, I'm going to do more of like a little round area here, and then kind of go up like this. But I don't know, we'll see. Anyway, cut that out. Pop it over here, and then see we can essentially set this on the material, and we can move it around and make it look, you know, kind of how we want to. So I don't know if I want it to be nice and straight or if I want it to have some angles on it. I have no idea. I think something like that, where it kind of is going down a little bit. Or maybe have it angling up. I don't know. I think we're just going to keep it straight because, I mean, I don't know. Nah, we're going to do that right there. But the only problem with that is if I end up deciding I want to change the shape down here, nah, we're good. We're good with this. So I'm going to draw a rough outline so we kind of know where we're going with this. All right, so basically something like that. Have that drawn on there. And so what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to cut this off to about the thickness we want. That way I've got a whole basically scale side of this that I can use on other material. There's no point in cutting this out this thick when I know I'm not going to need it that thick. Just wasteful. So yeah, we're at 1.25 inches. And we're probably going to need about 3/4 inch. So I'm just going to take 3/8 inch off of this. That'll leave me with 7/8. And then once I get that taken off, I'm going to cut a straight line in here and then cut this out basically larger than what I've traced onto here, just so I can make changes where I want to make changes. Okay, with this cut out, so I went a little thicker than I was going to originally, just so I'm at like an inch or so. Just so when I put this in here, when I cut out the slot and put this in here, if this is at any sort of angle for whatever reason, then I have room to straighten it out, you know, draw some lines, straighten it out however I need to. So basically just leaving myself a little space to screw up. So I'm going to get the hole drilled in this, but I need to figure out where the tang is going to be really quick. And I think we'll pop this in the middle here somewhere. I'm actually going to use a marker just so I can see it a little better. Okay, so there's the tang. So now I want to cut a slot in the middle of this. So I need to get my straight edge and transfer a line that direction. And then I'm gonna kind of eyeball the middle this way. Put a mark there, and then I'll flip it around and put a mark there, and then eyeball the middle right there. So that's where I want to drill my hole. And then if you want to, you can also transfer, if I can get this on here, you can transfer where your tang is going to be. This helps when cutting the slots. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to drill a hole, whatever size, and then I'm just going to cut the slots this direction, so that'll fit in there. So I'll probably do like 3/8 of an inch, and then I'll have to just dig out these slots. Here we are over at the trusty hole drilling device, the hole drilling machine. And I'm trying to get this lined up with how I need it. So there's about the depth I want to drill. I'm going to set my stop on there. It's about as deep as I want to go right there. If I can get that to stop where I want it. Yeah, there we go. Okay, now I'm just basically gonna kind of line this up in the center and adjust this at the angle I need to get this this hole bored out about straight down. So I think I need to go a little more of an angle. About, I'm gonna say about right there. I think is gonna be good. So I just need to lock this down. And I'm gonna double check that I'm going straight down, just about right. So we should be good with that. Looks like that's going straight down. So get everything, yep, I forgot to tighten that down. The bit's a good thing to have tightened down. So yeah, so we should be able to drill from there. And I did put a little mark where I want my bit to start. And that's it right there. Okay. We've got that drilled. Now we've got this drilled. I've got to actually get the tang to fit inside of there. And for that, I'm going to come over here to the material holding device. And basically I just need to start broaching this out, filing this out, or whatever you're going to do, just so I can get that tang to fit in there. And so basically where I put those lines where my tang is going to end up, that's where I'm going to want to dig out to. And of course, when I'm doing this, I'm not really putting equal pressure down. I'm putting more pressure toward the outside here because my tang tapers, so I don't need to cut out as much down here. The less you take out, the better you are when you start shaping your handle, because you don't want to dig out so much that when you start shaping, you grind a hole through into your tang slot. I have done it before, and it's not fun. Basically, it just ends up as another knife that I don't need that I keep. So anyway, just take it slow so you don't get too much material taken out of here, and then eventually you'll get this to where you need it. All right, with the handle fitted on here, nice and snug, I'm actually going to slot out 2 pieces of black G10 and a thin piece of brass, just to put in between here and the handle, just to give it a little flair, a little zing. Okay. So I've got my pieces slotted for here, and then the handle slides right on there. And that's basically all the pieces right there. So what I want to do now is, I mean, it's actually a pretty snug fit. I mean, it moves a little bit, you can see. But what I'm going to do is actually put some 1/16 inch alignment pins in this. So I'm going to drill holes through all of the spacer pieces, and then I'm going to transfer those holes into the handle material, and then transfer those holes into the guard. So that way all the pins will fit through all of these pieces, and there won't be any movement whatsoever. And here I've got my little 1/16 inch pieces. Don't really need them too long, but long enough that they actually go in and do what they're supposed to. I'm going to cut that one just a little bit longer. There we go. That's better. Got the alignment pins in. That was fun. I probably should have videotaped that. Anyway, so now what I want to do is I want to get this a little closer to the final shape, and I'm going to do that with the guard and the spacers and the handle material on. That way I can kind of get everything to be basically one solid piece. So I'm going to kind of cut this out a little bit closer to the edge, just so that I can kind of fit this up where it's supposed to be. So basically what I'm after is where this ricasso meets into the guard, I want that line to meet where the finger choil is. And then the back side of the spine, I want that to meet where the back side of the handle is. If that makes sense. So this is essentially the shape. I'm not going to go exact yet. I'm going to go just a little bit bigger. But this is going to be pretty close to the shape I'm after. And like I said, there's some stuff that definitely needs to be changed just a little bit because it doesn't look quite right. But we'll get this all figured out. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start grinding away the stuff that shouldn't be here. And I'm doing this with a 36 grit belt because I don't want to be here all day shaping this handle. Okay, so I've taken this down to shape a little closer to the final shape. But what I want to do is I want to get the nut put into the back of here so I can put a threaded rod on here and just snug everything up. And then once I do that, then I'm going to go ahead and get this even closer to shape. So, I mean, things are still moving a little bit, and I definitely don't want them to move. So I'm going to put that nut in first. So I need to make sure that I'm drilling into the center of the handle. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to set it flat onto a 1, 2, 3 block. And then I'm going to get this pencil up to about the center of that blade. And then I'm going to draw a line all the way around just so I know I've got center. I'm going to flip this around and do the same thing. There we go. So you can see that this is shifted one direction a little bit, so it is kind of turned a little on here. So now all I've got to do is figure out exactly where I'm going to put the nut. I'm probably going to put it closer to the spine side. That way it can go in more straight instead of more at an angle. So I want it to be more like this, so when I tighten it, it's going to suck it straight in instead of try to put a little bend in it. So we're going to go toward the spine side. So I'm going to make a mark on here about where I want to start drilling the hole. We're going to say about there. And then the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pull this back apart. I'm going to set this back on here about where I have this on there, and I'm going to redraw this tang so I know exactly where it is. Okay, and then all I need to do is line up where I'm going to put the nut, and then about the center of the tang. So we'll go there, and then about where the nut's going to be, and then draw a line. So this way, when I put it on the drill press, I can line the bit up with the tang, and then should go straight in there. And the other thing I want to do is I want to mark on this tang where I've got this going into, because I've got to cut a slot in here to put my threaded rod, and then I'm gonna braze it in there. Okay, so now I've got this overly expensive step bit that should fit exactly the nuts that I have for the back side of this. And I'm just trying to get this bit lined up about where it should be to go in straight on that. Now I just need to drill straight into here, and I'm hoping this bit grabs because I'm at a little bit of an angle. So we'll see what happens here. Come back a little bit. There we go. That should be just about where we need to be. Yep. So we just need to drill straight down from here. Shouldn't have to go in too deep. Maybe about half of the depth of the barrel of the nut I'm putting in. Should be good right there. Okay, we got that fit right into there. Yeah, just keep drilling till we, right there. Okay, so we are through. Okay, so that hole's through. Now I just need to get the threaded rod onto the tang. Okay, so I got the threaded rod on there. It's just kind of pressed in there right now. I just went over to the portaband, cut a little slot, and then kind of ground a little bit on these threads just so it'd be a nice tight fit. And now I'm just gonna maybe that's the oxygen. There we go. And no, I'm not very good at brazing. So try not to laugh at me. Yeah, I'm sure everything's wrong. I'm sure the heat's wrong. Doing it all wrong. But guess what? It ends up staying where it needs to stay. There we go. I think that's going to be good right there. And the threaded rod is on. So let me reassemble. Take this back off of here. And hopefully that just pops right through the back end. Look at that, right where it's supposed to be. Except I think it's shifted off to one side just a little bit. So we'll straighten that out. All right, took a little fiddling around with these parts to get them all lined up perfectly, but we got it. So I've got it locked down with just an 832 nut and washer on the back. So now that this is all secure and everything's where it needs to be, I'm going to start getting everything shaped the way I want it. So the first thing we're going to do is I'm going to make sure to get this spine nice and lined up with the back side of this handle, and then I'm going to get the finger side kind of cleaned up, get the radiuses we want, and then from there we'll take down the thickness and put the swells in wherever we want them, and basically just an overall handle shaping. So this, I feel this is a perfect size here, and I think it's going to be pretty sweet when it's done. So on to the grinding. Okay, so I think I'm going to start out by actually getting my rounded areas in here, and then from there I can start doing some of the straighter parts. trying to clean up this guard just a little bit. It's always my least favorite part about the guard. Because I always seem to screw it up. Okay, after some basic handle shaping, which it's very basic, I'm gonna glue this thing up. And I polished the top of the guard. That'll, you know, not really be touched after this is assembled. So got that polished. I'm gonna re-etch, re-coffee etch this blade, and then, like I said, get it all glued up. And then from that point, I'll finish the handle shaping. So we're getting really close. You can see I've got some of the shape in the guard, and some of it's still a little off, has to be cleaned up, but for the most part it's in the shape I want it to be. So glue up and then we'll finish shaping. So if we fast forward to the next day, we've got a mess and a knife that's been glued up and ready for us to finish shaping. And this thing went together pretty nicely, actually. Didn't have too many issues getting everything assembled correctly. But everything's still lined up. I did do a little extra shaping back here on the guard before I put it on, so we need to clean that up. And I've got to get my lines straightened up so everything looks all pretty. Yeah, so I've actually got a 120 on here. I forgot I was doing the shaping with a 60 grit. Just got to get this cleaned up a little bit with the 120 first. So basically it's just going to be a lot of this until I get all these deep scratches out. You know, get my shapes where I need them to be, and then I'll go up a grit and then do this a little bit more, and then it'll be on to the hand sanding. Okay, I went to 400 on the belt, and this is where we are at the moment. So you can see we cleaned up the guard a little bit, got it to a nice satin finish. You can probably see these little white lines in here. You can see right up in here. So those are spots that I couldn't quite, I guess, get sanded. This is what I don't like about this micarta, is that, you know, with G10 or wood, it's easy to get these sand marks out, but for some reason I just can't really get them out too easily of this micarta or G-carta. But anyway, it'll take a little bit of hand sanding and I'll get those out. But I'm going to take this up to 800, and then it's going to get buffed, and then essentially this knife's going to be done. I just have to make the Kydex sheath for it and figure out how it's going on to the little fanny pack that it's being attached to. But for the most part, we're done with this. But let me go over and get some hand sanding done, buffed, and then we'll be back. I'm going to do this with 400 first, just to see if I can get those marks out. If I can't, I might have to just go back one grit. Okay, looking good. On to 800. So here it is, the final product. So as you can see, I mean, I think it turned out pretty nice. A lot of work. The guard looks great in brass. I kind of like this camo handle. It's not too bad. The greens go with the brass really well, so I can't complain too much about that. And then we have our little nut back here, looking all brassy and pretty. So anyway, this is I just have to do the sheath for this and get it attached to the fanny pack, and I'm not quite sure how I'm going to do that yet, but I'll probably have a picture of that as the thumbnail for this video, so you'll be able to see it. If not, I'll have photos on my Instagram account. So anyway, as usual, thanks a ton for stopping by, and thanks for the support, and I will see you in the next video.